everyone. Hope you're doing great. CLAT 2021 was conducted on 23rd of July, and key was released late in the evening with a PDF, and the PDF that students take and the PDF that was released might be different because there are different sets of question papers, and the order of questions or the way the options are given might be varying. However, you can compare the question and the actual option and written in words and then verify your key. In this session, we are going to discuss the logical reasoning section and discuss about the answers and how we'll choose something to be an answer. After the exam yesterday, we had the opportunity to talk to some students, and we also had the webinar where we predicted the cutoffs and all that. There are a few things that have come out after the discussions, and would like to reiterate or discuss the same thing, similar things in this session also. One of the things was like the options were close or same words seem to be repeating in the options. We've always discussed about A minus B approach in our mock analysis or in our class discussions, that whenever you see some words are close in the options, always try to identify the difference, pick up the word that is different from the other one and consider that and try to decide an answer. This particular paper seems to be using that technique a lot. There's another thing that we also said, that sometimes when you see a question, you will think of an answer. However, it might not be so helpful, and then you'll have to look into the options, or sometimes you're confused. You don't get any answer in mind after you look at the question. Then we always said, look at the options. Sometimes you'll get some idea from the options. And this was a paper definitely where many questions were easily ignored or easily cancelled, because easily eliminated also, because they were totally irrelevant, or you could find the answers in a better manner, right? Those were two things that you could do. And there's one more thing that we would like to remember when we do this key. Reasoning is always about interpretation. And when it comes to competitive exams, we've said that when you have an option like none of the above, it's very much important that you look at the above options and see which one is the best possible answer. And then if you don't find anything, only then go for the none of the above. That's the concept of NOTA that we tried to explain also in the mock analysis. So this session, we would also look at that concept, because some of the questions, we had to choose the best possible answers from the given set. Because ultimately in the exam, when you are writing an exam, it's always about what is the best possible answer. And that's the perspective with which we looked at this paper and the key also. Right? So here we are, the first passage. The first passage is about mental health challenges. And after the COVID-19 pandemic, we need to continue to make this necessary strides in this line. And then we have Graham Thornikoff, who says that there are three different ways, components in terms of the stigma aspect: knowledge, attitude, and behavior. And the discussion was about the last behavior, which was social isolation. And pandemic, everybody knows that it caused a kind of a social isolation. Then we talked about how it's seen in higher income groups or countries, or low income countries, how they are, where they have a performance pressure and where they can still do other activities. The author also tries to discuss about why people don't talk about it, because of the social stigma or a reputation issue or family risks, etc. And he also says it will be encouraging if people can come out and share their experiences, and people can be helped so that they can heal their pain. And there was a simple example about what was done in a small rural village of Andhra Pradesh there. So this was how the passage is. Now let's move on to the questions here. The first question here that we have is, what is the central idea in the passage as conveyed by the author? Now, whenever we look at central idea or main idea, we always think about what is the main topic. Now, in this passage, definitely mental health stigma is there. The author says that we need to address the issues, and it can be helpful if people talk, go out, discuss about it. These are certain things that we had in the passage. So let's look into the options and see which one is a possible answer. It is not an obstacle for people seeking care. People are not taking help on mental health condition. So That's not my answer. Mental health is a domestic phenomena. Rich country, poor country, at workplace, at home. Obviously, there's a stigma and difficulty associated with it. So this can't be my answer. In low-income countries, mental health doesn't receive adequate attention and treatment. Well, low-income countries can be linked with treatment aspect. When it comes to the adequate attention part of it, the stigma is one thing. There's not much effort put on the stigma aspect, because definitely are still going ahead, and there's no performance excelling kind of requirement. That part of it is discussed. This is not very clearly discussed, but yeah, this is something that we can still think of. Let's see. Mental issues have only risen after the pandemic. Well, this is not what it is. Mental issues are there. With the pandemic, we have to give importance to it. Now, if you look, A, B, D are all, no, they are not my answers. Coming to C also, in this particular passage, when we look at the central idea aspect and this statement C regarding the attention and treatment aspect, this is something that we cannot consider to be a central idea. We cannot consider C to be a central idea here. However, if we have to look at as the best possible options, we might have to go with this as an answer, because end of the day we have to mark something if we have to mark it. Otherwise, some students might have left the statement because adequate attention and treatment aspect is more on the financial kind of a scenario here. And if we say people are not able to explore jobs, then it's a different kind of scenario as far as the passage is concerned. However, I would say 106 has been I would say tricky to choose an answer. And probably if this is an opening question, some students might got stuck there. However, C seems to be the only possible answer, which we can at least to some extent think it's lined up with the passage, to some extent vaguely think. So yeah, that's with the 106 opening question first. Let's look at 107. As per the passage, which of the following approaches can be most effective to curb the issue of mental health? Mental health can only be curbed when people will stop sharing their emotions. We cannot stop sharing. We were asked actually to share, right? To develop a sense of acceptance among people suffering from mental health and let them heal gradually. Other people should accept these people, and people should feel comfortable to share. This looks like an answer. Experience shared and discussed on a large scale is a major hindrance for betterment. No, you need to share was discussed. A person shouldn't express, which enhances mental health problems. Shouldn't express, no, he should. Pretty clearly, all these three are not the options, and B is the best possible answer. 107 is a pretty much easy. Now, if you look at it, 106 and 107, you would understand that 107, we were clearly, happily able to eliminate the options and freeze an answer. In 106 case, we could eliminate 3 for sure, but when we had to freeze an option on C, we had that difficulty because of the vagueness of the option. 108, which of the following is expressed in the passage to explain the significance of the issue of mental health? So what point is mentioned in the passage where it adds more importance to why we need to look into mental health scenario, right? Or sometimes you'll have data or any other kind of information to emphasize the particular issue. So that's what the question is all about. The issue of mental health has received required recognition and deliberation during pandemic. Okay, pandemic time we considered mental health issues. So this is one point here. Mental health will be reduced automatically after pandemic. No, mental health improves when social isolation increases. Improves is incorrect here, because social isolation is the cause for mental health issues. So this is incorrect. Mental health is an illusionary notion developed during a pandemic to strengthen pharma industries. Totally irrelevant kind of thing. So B, C, D are happily eliminated. They are not at all an answer. So you're left with option A again, right? We need to continue to stride working towards it. That was a point that we had in the passage. So taking those lines, we can to some extent consider this as an answer choice among the given list of words. So 108, A is fine. Next, 109. In low-income countries, one can be one can be unwell and still play an active social and productive role somewhere, as there are many such roles to play within the family and in society. Okay. Which of the following conclusions can be drawn from the statement? Stigma rates in low-income countries are high. Wrong. Right. Stigma rates in high-income countries may be more due to a pressure of performance and to excel. This we have in the passage. Mental stigma is not related to economic conditions of a country. We have the money aspect and poor rich aspect, and we are talking about mental stigma. So this cannot be taken. High income people required to perform multiple roles at home. It's low income people actually, as far as the passage is concerned. Now again, in this passage, in this 109 option also, by elimination, if we have to go for it, 109B is the best possible answer for us. But if you look at it, again, if you just look at the statement, low income countries is what you're talking about, and what do you deduct from this? What do you understand from this? If we say that, from this we would say that people will have actually multiple roles to play in a low income group, in family or in the society, so they can manage, or they don't have so much pressure. They'll find opportunities that are suitable to them, something like that, right? For instance, their high income group countries, they have a lot of automation techniques, so people might not find great jobs, or survival issues might come in because of high performance and requirements, etc. That would be a better possible conclusion to be looked at. But since this is low income and there's a high income option here, looks tricky to go with it. But as I would say, nothing else fits here. Nothing else fits for other list of options. So going by that, B is the best possible answer again. So we go with B as the key. Which of the following weakens the author's idea of having a space where they may be welcome rather than judge? So here you are having a question as weakening the author's idea. Author wants people to go somewhere and discuss their issues, and so that they'll feel comfortable. Weakening is basically saying that it's not a good idea. So any option which says it's not a good idea will be the right one. People who tend to share their emotion tend to have mental peace and happiness. That's a positive thing, right? Societal role is massive in embracing people suffering from mental ailments. People sharing their ideas and expressing publicly is a practice which needs to be promoted. So all three are positive. It is a practice, it is a human tendency to form judgments about other people, and this being a healthy practice should be encouraged at large scale. Making judgments is not a good idea when it comes to the mental health people, and that's the reason it's not suggested. People don't share things because they're afraid of judgments. That's what we discussed. And judging about mental health people is not at all a good idea. So definitely this is something that would weaken. Again, this would be an easy question. This would probably be an easy question for you. Right? Yes, so we have 106 to 110 questions here. And as I said, 106 and 109 are two tricky and vague options to go with in terms of the way the options are given. There could have been a little more improvised in terms of either the question or in terms of the option. Okay, let's move on to the next passage. This is more about the importance and challenges that we have. This is related to the India and its neighbors. That's the passage that we have, right? India, its neighbors is the passage that we call this one. So one of the most important challenges for Indian diplomacy in the subcontinent is to persuade its neighbors that India is an opportunity, not a threat. Far from feeling in any way besieged by India, they should be able to see it as offering a vast market to a dynamic, growing economy, which would provide their own economies. This would which would provide their own economies with far greater opportunities than more distant partners. This would go beyond the economic benefits, as David Malone says. Economic cooperation represents the easiest sell to various constituencies within the countries of the region. Right? Were this to prove useful, then you can work on other sensitive issues like terrorism, separatism, etc. Winds of change are blowing in South Asia. There is a definite consolidation of democracy in all countries of the region, every one of which has held elections in the last 3 years. Some of our neighbors have made significant strides in surmounting internal conflict, and others are in the process of doing so. If India has to fulfill its potential in the world, we have no choice but to live in peace with our neighbors in mutual security, harmony, and cooperation. Then we have the discussion about Jawaharlal Nehru and next point about him. Then we have our point about um, Shastri ji, and let's move on to questions now. So if you look at the entire passage, it's more about India and its neighbors, and the vision is more about peaceful coexistence with your neighbors. If you work better with your neighbors, only then your economy can also be improved. You don't need to be intimidating your neighbors. You need to be supportive, and they will also find opportunities in your country that is much better than very far off or distant economies, right? So let's look at the passage. And the questions. As per the passage, which of the following is a challenge for India? Let's see the options. To develop an intimidating surrounding for its neighbors, we don't need to develop intimidating, scary surroundings. To manifest India as a land of opportunities, obviously, we need to show that. We need to persuade to our neighbors that we are a land of opportunities. This can be my answer. To restrict access to economic activities, that is not suggested. To propagate the practice of threatening neighbors, not suggested. So easily B is the best possible option. Persuade your neighbors to see India as a land of opportunities. They should see you as a country where their economy will also grow along with your economy. So that's what is indicated in the first few lines. So obviously B is the easy, happy option for us. Next one, 112. If India has to fulfill its potential in the world, we have no choice but to live in peace with our neighbors in mutual security, harmony, and cooperation. In the context of the statement, which of the following strengthens the author's opinion? So what strengthens the author's opinion? What supports the author's opinion? Peace and prosperity cannot work in consonance? No. India should assert its mights over neighbor? No. Peaceful coexistence with neighbors is the key to growth? Positive. India can offer myriad opportunities for its neighbors by working in seclusion, which is like isolation. No. So C is the best possible answer. Again, eliminate the options, read them carefully, and you'll find the answer here. What is the central theme of the passage above? The object of attaining peaceful coexistence and cooperation with the neighbors. Dominance of India and its neighbors. No. Emergence of India as global power. Prioritizing economic opportunities for India. So of all the options, now you see central theme. This is how a central theme option should be. A central theme that takes the entire passage into picture and its main idea or main point into picture. That is what is central theme. And here it is very clear we need to work in peaceful coexistence and cooperation with our neighbors. And that is the essential part of it. So A is the best possible answer for us here. Which of the following is the correct expression of the author's opinion as stated in the passage? So author did say a couple of points. We can always look at the options and see what is it that we have here. India should strive for great economic integration, which should be politically and administratively feasible. Let's put it and let's see other options. India can see borders as barriers, border areas as buffer zones, but not as gateways for opportunities. No, we need to ensure that borders are smooth promoting economy, right? India's stellar economic growth is thwarting her opportunities. No. It is not in India's interest to be generous to neighbors. No. All again, go ahead with economic integration, which should be politically and administratively feasible. Now, if you really have to verify the answer and go back, we did discuss that politically internal conflicts need to be resolved, and economy should be promoting within the country. I mean, your economy should support other countries and it should work for you also. Internal conflict should be resolved and you need to have greater progress there. So going by those lines of all the things, again, A is the best possible answer. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage above? There is no nexus between cooperative existence and economic growth of the nation. This is not my answer, definitely, because there is a link. Unless India's region becomes more self-centered, India is unlikely to develop into regional power, not at all suggested. India can only become a great power if it works in isolation to achieve the desired result, not suggested. India cannot aspire to be a greater power without cooperation of neighbors. Yes, India needs support of its neighbors. D. Now, if you look at this passage, especially with India and its neighbors, we feel all the options are fine, no issues at all. And the questions are also pretty clear. The options are also pretty clear. And overall, we treat it to be an easy passage only as far as the readability, and we stick to the same aspect. A good passage, easy one, and probably each one of you might have got everything right here. Next one. This is about school system in India. That is a passage that we call it here, and easy to medium read, obviously. Let's see the questions and the passage. The critique of school as an institution has developed and grown in the past half century. Obviously, people criticize schools a lot. Education theorist Rena wrote, "School is dead in 60s. Most schools are cage jails where an alien curriculum designed by some experts is thrust down a student child's gullet." It's basically you're forcing a curriculum on the students. That kind of interpretation is given here. Today, many schools are gargantuan corporate enterprises with thousands of children on roll, and they run like factories, etc. You're saying here. The website of a particular private school in Lucknow boasts of 56,000 students, for instance, and but progressive thinkers have always envisioned free schools for children. The Russian novelist founded a school for children of poor peasants at his home, and without any strict schedule, homework, etc. Maria Montessori was first Italian woman to become a doctor. She went on to work out on stages of children's development, etc. Tagore's critique of rote learning is articulated in the Parrots training. So you have multiple people, and what they did is what is discussed. Initially, you're starting off with children's education is criticized and how people treat and think of children's education. And then there's a concept of free school coming up. How did 3 or 4 different people have done it? Next, you have A.S. Neal with the belief that school should be made to fit the child rather than the other way around. And then you have the Kothari education recommendation for common school system, never implemented. So let's see what it is. Today, which school a child goes depends on her socio-economic status, obviously financial status and social status. Pandemic has further worsened the situation. COVID-19 hit parents financially. Digital divide between rich and poor has also increased. The poor don't have access to mobiles, etc. In such a scenario, one can try and conceive of neighborhood learning practices. So opening was with how schools are criticized, and then 3 or 4 people on free schools, what they did. And then you started off with the pandemic, how it has affected education, how people go to schools in today's scenario, the rich and social economic situation, how it is impacting school education. That is what we have here. Okay? Now let's see the questions. What has the author conveyed regarding the school system in India? Let's see the options, okay? School system in India is an advanced system which focuses on developing the personality of students. I don't think he called it an advanced system. No, nowhere. Schools in India are segregated based on socio-economic status. We have this pointer here. Socio-economic status is discussed here. So this can be my answer. Let's see. Schools staunchly promote the interest of every student enrolled to ensure quality education. The entire passage was like you're forcing some curriculum down the line, rote learning, etc. So this can't be my answer. Pandemic has aided students a greater access technology. Students suffer because they don't have technology, they don't have internet, they are missing out classes, was discussed in the last paragraph. So of all the possible answers here, B is the best possible thing in this particular passage. B is the best possible answer for us here. Okay? Let's look at the next one. Which of the following can be deduced from the passage? Let's see the options again. Social segregation must be eliminated for furtherance of education in schools. The COVID-19 pandemic has lubricated the teaching learning process. Schools should be divided on the basis of financial capabilities. Private schools should be encouraged. Sorry. Okay. So here, private schools should be encouraged to enroll economically poor students irrespective of their caste and religion. If you look at all the options, you will understand which one should be our answer here. Not a very easy one, not a very difficult one. You can carefully read the options and eliminate your answers. A is a given answer for us here, and that seems to be fine too. Right? That seems to be fine here. Because pandemic has lubricated the learning process, doesn't suit good. Should be divided on financial capabilities, that also doesn't suit. Should be encouraged to enroll poor students irrespective of their caste and religion, that point is not discussed here. It was more related to the neighborhood practices and how children go to schools based on socioeconomic status alone was given, but not the other things. So 117A seems to be a fine option here to go with. ठीक है, let's move on to 118. 118, as per the above passage, which of the following doesn't correctly represent the author's view regarding imparting of education during pandemic? Doesn't correctly represent the author's view, so we need to look at that carefully. There has been a disruption of education system due to pandemic. Does author say there has been a disruption? Yes, he does say that. Inclusion of technologies has widened the canvas of distance learning education, although its access is biggest concern. The author does say that technology has increased because of the pandemic, but he also mentions that, sorry. The author also mentions that there's a concern in the option, and which is also true as far as the passage is concerned. The concern is understandable. So if you look at it, there has been a disruption, yes. Inclusion has been a widened canvas of distance learning, which is a positive thing, but the concern is also there here. The pandemic has unearthed and stimulated innovative approaches to learning. Because of pandemic, we started inventing new technology or a new methodology to teach. I'm not very sure if the author would agree with that, because the poor children definitely did not benefit much. So this is not something that I could look at it as far as the passage is concerned. The crisis is worsened by reduction of opportunities for many children. Obviously, poor children suffered a lot with the pandemic. The author's point of view, if you look at the options carefully and you understand my plus and minus there, as far as the pandemic is concerned and the pandemic and education system is concerned, the author is clear that poor children suffered a lot. Rich probably benefited, but the poor children suffered a lot, and education system took a toll because of the pandemic. It's very clear from the passage. Now we look at the options also. Definitely A, C, D are all A, B, and D. A, D are definitely problems with the pandemic. B, there's the concern which is including the poor people. So C is the best possible answer for us in this particular question. Okay. Next, which of the following can be utilized to develop a healthy environment for students learning in schools? Individualized teaching should not be followed for growth of students. People's child and school concept, it was said that every child needs to be taken care of, kind of point of view is given there. So we can't say about it. Students should only be permitted to opt for only few subjects as elective courses. Community learning should be encouraged. A fixed and robust curriculum is the need of the. So if you look at A, B, D, they are kind of saying that it should not be student centric, or you should have restrictions and rote learning or a particular curriculum. Those kind of points are suggested in A, B, D. If you look at the last lines, you have to have a neighborhood practices or some kind of encouragement to happen. Together learning kind of idea is coming up. So yes, 119C is a concept we could always go with as an answer choice. And what we mean is like children learn with each other also. They learn in helping as a, we usually say with GK that GK can be learned if you're working in groups. That's what always we say in our sessions also. So community learning, together you're learning with others, that might help. So yeah, C seems to be fine there. In the above passage, which of the following cannot be referred as a characteristic of a free school? So we have free school concept and we have 3 or 4 people about whom we discuss. Let's see the options and then go for it. It is an alternative, which of the following cannot be inferred. So let's be careful there. It is an alternative to mainstream and conventional form of schooling. Free schools provide a democratic platform to students to voice their opinions. The courses offered at free schools are optional for students depending on their interests. Specific choice of schedule and fixed schools are quintessential features of a free school. Definitely, fixed schedule is one option we can eliminate. Specific subjects is also something we can eliminate because it's all based on the child's interest. The learning mechanism is focused on the child's interest. That's what the concept of free school is going with. So this is definitely not something we can consider. So D seems to be an answer choice. So as far as this passage is concerned, which is more about education system, and as far as all the questions and options are concerned, everything looks fine and seems to be okay. Okay? Everything seems to be okay there. Got it? Okay. Let's look at the next one. Asia is at the front line of climate change. So this is a passage we are talking about climate change. Extreme heat in India, Pakistan, and wildfires in Australia, typhoons in Japan are real and present dangers. You have a McKinsey report on climate risk and response in Asia finds that without adaptation and mitigation, Asia is expected to experience more impact than other parts. So Asia is going to suffer more than other parts. That's what they feel. Large cities in Indian subcontinent could be among the first places in the world to experience heat waves that exceed survivability threshold. Just as information system and cybersecurity have become integrated part, climate change also needs to be considered in decision making. Climate science tells us that some amount of warming over the next decade is already locked in due to past emissions. India anticipates a significant infrastructure build over next few decades, trillions in 34 subsectors, robust regulations around outdoor work could significantly reduce the economic risks of lost hours. Good news is that we have started in some Indian states. Ahmedabad City Corporation has implemented something. City now has a heat wave warning system. They try to keep the buildings cool, and renewable energy has also grown in India. So we have some pointers like that here. If you look at the entire passage here, uh, if you look at the entire passage here, this is talking about climate change, obviously, but climate change and its impact in India, Asia is going to be high. We have some examples related to India and how Ahmedabad is working. Cities need to be working around. We need to work towards solutions, some alternate methods and solutions needs to be looked at. And yeah, that's what we have in this passage. Let's move on to the questions and see how they are framed and how do we go about it. First 121, which of the following cannot be inferred? This particular exam, we need to be very cautious with these kind of statements, cannot be inferred. Do not miss it out. Let's see the options carefully. It is imperative to lessen our vulnerability to harmful effects of climate change. It is essential, it is important that we become strong and overcome our weaknesses against climate change. Increase in mitigation strategies will lead to an increase in pollutant. Now, definitely, this is not something we can take it from the passage because mitigation strategies and adaptation techniques are two things that the passage discusses as a solution for climate change. So this is something, B is something that we cannot take from the passage. Reduction of emissions which are heat trapping and harmful for environment should be our primary goal, obviously. Infrastructure development plans to be climate friendly. That's what we say. Climate change also needs to be considered along with cyber security and other parameters that is also discussed in the passage. So A, C, and D. These three options we can take it from the passage one way or the other. But B is one option we definitely cannot infer from the passage. So we can happily consider that to be as cannot be inferred here. So B is the answer here, and that's fine. Coming to the next one, considering the impacts, consider the following statements. Impact of increasing heat is more on the ones who are economically poor and engaged in outdoor employment. Well, we do have the risks of outdoor works, regulations around that, and life and heat waves, etc. We discussed about that point. So yeah, we can consider that. Risk to environment is directly related to change in climate. This point, environment and climate change, might be sounding a little vague, but C is a given option, and one reason that could have been connected because we have the opening lines. Typhoon is nothing but environmental risk, or wildfire is nothing but an environmental risk, and they're all connected. Present dangers and likely to become more with the climate change, and if it intensifies. So that probably connects the risk to environment and climate change. Localized understanding of risk is essential. Obviously, Asia is going to suffer more than other countries. Cities are taking care of their own mechanisms. Ahmedabad is looking at it. So every aspect, area-wise, you will have to look into that. It is essential to understand the risk and mitigate the risk. If Asia is relaxed, that it's just because the other countries are relaxed, then no, Asia is going to suffer more. So it better work on its strategies. So considering those lines and interpreting it in that way, we might have to go with C as a possibly implied statements. Again, this word is more about implied. So what do you think? What can you understand from it? If we have to connect those pieces of data, those lines of information, we could go with C as a possible answer. But again, some might not have interpreted option B or the statement 2, because connecting environment with wildlife or things might be a little tricky, maybe. Which of the following strategies is not appropriate to reduce the climate change risk? Which of the following strategies is not appropriate? Decreasing energy efficiency. You need to increase energy efficiency, not decrease. So obviously A is the best possible answer. Fine, clear cut, straightforward, no issue. As per the above passage, which of the following is a major challenge to control climate change? Now, challenge is basically something which is a difficulty that you're facing. You need to overcome that. That is what we have. Reliance on non-renewable energy is significant for economic growth. Definitely, renewable energy has grown rapidly and contribute 30% of gross generation. We have that point. That means 70% still depends on non-renewable energy, and that is a concern. And definitely, you can treat that as a challenge. But let's look at options. Renewable energy is now utilized in many sectors to curb increasing risk. If it is utilized, then it's not a challenge, right? Remedial actions are encouraged to lessen the risk of global warming. Regulated industry keeps a balance between growth and environment. So B, C, D are actually some kind of a positive statements. A alone looks like because we are depending a lot on non-renewable energy, and that might become a challenge for us in future. So the language of the sentence and the way the sentences are put up, A seems to be as a better possible answer, right? If the options were something like, we could also had different kind of options like promoting climate change kind of concepts. The industries are finding it very expensive, so they're not very supportive. That trying to convince them is a challenge there, and trying to encourage people to take necessary precautions is a challenge. All these things will come under as challenges if we really have to look at it in different manner or different ways. We could look into it, whether it's outdoor activity or working population, or the way you need to take care of your own infrastructural requirement of buildings, etc. They're all challenges to be looked at if we want to look at options like that. However, in the given case, A is the best possible answer. So let's not confuse ourselves unnecessarily. Next one. Consider the statement, just as information systems and cybersecurity have become integrated into corporate and public sector, decision-making climate change will also need to feature as major factor in decisions. Which of the following is most appropriate explanation for the above statement? Let's look at options. Decision making by organizations should not depend on climate condition. It should depend. Monetary investments in adoption of climate friendly tools is not an urgent thing. It is an urgent thing. The understanding of climate risk should not be integrated into decision making. It should be integrated. Organization must incorporate climate risk, build necessary infrastructural requirements, and tool to diagnose it. D is the best possible answer. If you look at it, this is an easy question. A, B, C can be happily eliminated, not at all difficult. D seems to be a better fit answer from the given options. So here we have the passage on climate change connected with different scenarios and efforts being taken. So 121 to 125 questions we have. Yes, we expressed a little bit of difficulty in 122 and explained why the answer could be as given as C. But overall seems to be a fine one in terms of the key given. Next one. So here we are talking about COVID-19 infections. Now this is a passage discussing about that. COVID-19 infections are once again on the rise, with daily infections crossing 60,000 per day. This is considerably higher compared to the reported infections during the same period last year, which were less than 500 per day. What is obvious is that pandemic is far from over despite the availability of vaccines. However, unlike the last year, response has been muted with no nationwide lockdown. One of the reasons for differing responses is the lesson from the unintended consequences on the economy of strict lockdown last year. Pretty readable, not at all difficult, you can understand, and probably because it's a COVID and economy thing that you have seen for the last 1 year, it might be sounding like a familiar one only. But as you go down, you'll understand how the passage turns. While aggregate estimates on the growth rate of GDP showed a sharp contraction in economic activity, economy shrunk by 24% in April-June quarter, the impact on lives and livelihoods still unfolding. So there has been a sharp contraction, but the impact of it, whatever is the consequence of it, is still unfolding. It's still going on, even though the sharp contraction phase seems to be behind us. So the phase is over, but effects are still seen. That's what these lines are saying. The extent of the loss of lives and livelihoods is becoming clear now, with detailed data from periodic labor force and the latest round of which is for the April-June quarter of 2020. This is the first official report on the estimates for the quarter, which witnessed the worst impact with the lockdown in force until middle of May. Visuals of thousands of migrant workers walking back to their villages are still fresh in mind. While many have returned to urban areas in the absence of rural jobs, many did not also. PLFS, which captures the unemployment situation in urban areas, provides some clues to what happened. The estimates from PLF are broadly in line with estimates available from other privately conducted surveys, notably the unemployment surveys, etc. You have a lot of data here. If you look at it, this entire passage seem to have data. I'm just skipping on to the questions here, because factual information we can always get into it as required. Let's look into the passage and the questions of the passage. 126. According to the author, which of the following is a plausible explanation for India's prevalent crisis? Okay. What is the reason for the given crisis? That is a point of view that we have. Let's see the option. Previously existing employment crunch is worsened due to the imposition of nationwide lockdown during the pandemic. Imposition of lockdown during pandemic reduced the economic activity. Imposition of nationwide lockdown during pandemic led to migration of workforce from urban to rural. There is a sharp decline in urban unemployment rate for the population above age of 15. Now, if you look at all the possible answers, and if we connect with the data also, there has been an economy crunch and the scenario was not so great. Between 2016 2019 also there has been growth which is decelerated. There was an unemployment aspects there earlier also, but the things have worsened with the pandemic. So that is what we can clearly, the unemployment rate, which more than doubled compared to the unemployment rate in preceding quarter. So unemployment rate was already there and it has become all the more worse. So considering all those things, crisis, pandemic has worsened the scenario. We go with A as a better possible answer. Okay. Migration of the workforce alone is one of the point, but that is not the cause for unemployment. Unemployment is there in villages also, right? There is unemployment in cities. That's why they went to villages. That's what we would say. So C is eliminated there. Pandemic reduced economic activity, which is understood, but the crisis has become more worse, right? It was already there and pandemic made it more worse. So A is a better possible fit over B. Close options here, but I think easily you can decipher. According to the author, what is the current state of Indian economy? What is the current state of Indian economy? There's a sharp contraction in economic activity. The aftermath of sharp contraction. We clearly said that the sharp contraction phase is over. I've just read that line in the paragraph also. But the other consequences are unfolding. So B seems to be a better option. Unemployment rate in urban area for all categories are increasing. Youth unemployment rate in India is at par with small and conflict rate. And C and D you can compare with the passage and look at it. But the question is more about current state of economy, and current state of economy, B is a better possible thing. C and D are more specific things that you're talking about. Which of the following statements cannot be inferred from the given passage? Cannot be inferred. Which of the following you cannot connect from the passage? So you have 128 here. Loss of lives and livelihood is attributable to the imposition of national-wide lockdown during pandemic. Pandemic jobs were lost, people migrated, and in the process, they had suffered too. So it can be inferred. Decline in economic growth is attributable to the imposition of lockdown during pandemic. Yes, we can connect to that. Rise in unemployment is attributable to migration of members from urban to rural areas. If people move from urban rural to rural areas, then there should be like extra jobs for someone to do, right? And if people move to another place, it's in the hope of a job also. So either ways, movement of people is not the cause for unemployment. People move because of unemployment. So C doesn't seem to be a possible one. Rising unemployment is attributable to imposition of national wide lockdown, which makes sense. So C is the possible answer for us. C is the possible answer for us. Next. Which of the following strengthens the author's argument that decline in economic growth and rise in unemployment precedes the onset of COVID-19 pandemic? Now, if you look at it, which of the following strengthens the author's argument that decline in economic growth and rise in unemployment precedes the onset of COVID pandemic? So what is before the pandemic? If you look at these options, they don't fit into that category. This is the only one that fits into the category that there is something that was bad even before the pandemic. So going by those lines, C seems to be a better possible answer. So you have 126 to 129, and let's see 130. According to passage, which of the following statements is correct? Unemployment in urban areas for all categories increased by almost 3 times over the preceding decade. A seems to be a best possible answer here. You have a clear-cut line here. From the passage, you could take it. Unemployment rates in urban areas for all categories increased by almost 3 times between 11-12 and 17-18. Okay, so that seems to be a proper answer there. Other ones are more like employment rates is not the thing. Unemployment rates, 3% is not, it is. So percent and rates, we always discuss now. Here, employment and unemployment is one comparison. 3 times and 3% is another thing that you could look into that adds to the difference of the content. Okay, so 130 A seems to be a decent possible answer without any complexities and without any difficulties. Okay, the next one, let's move on to the last one, I guess. So from this set, I don't think there's anything that we need to worry about. 126 to 130 seems fine options. Passage looks lengthy, data looks confusing, but everything is either skim scan ones. And most importantly, one thing that we could see is some options look like they are given in the passage, but you need to read the question properly. The answers are more connected to the passage. You are having answers, but sometimes they are not connected to the question, right? So read questions carefully. That is one thing that we have understood in this CLAT 2021 paper, where complexity has come more like if student doesn't read the question properly, then they'll make a mistake. Right. Let's move on to the next one. On the day of writing this, India had reported 116 deaths from COVID-19. In contrast, US with around 1/4 of population of India reported 1897 deaths, etc. UK has again. On the other metrics too, new cases, active cases, Indian curve has flattened. If UK and US were to achieve what we heard, there will be major celebrations. However, because we are India, we don't get much credit. We are considered poor, third world, and untrustworthy country, incapable of achieving something like this on our own. Instead of learning from India's experience, the first instinct is to doubt Indian data. We aren't counting the cases, right? We aren't doing enough tests. We don't we classify deaths properly. The list of doubts goes on. So all these suspicions are there. This even as the tests have only increased, positivity rate has dropped, and almost all Indian hospitals are seeing less admissions. To think that Deep Indian state is capable of fudging data at the level of every district and state and sustaining this facade for many months is giving it too much credit. Conspiracies require enormous coordination. Given that you can check corona data at every ward level, it's difficult to fudge. In terms of testing also, while a case might be made for a lot of Indians not getting tested, it is also true that random testing has increased. Domestic flyers to Maharashtra from many states, for instance, have to get a test done, irrespective of symptoms. If there was a rampant corona, then there would be spikes here. What is even more remarkable about India's achievement is it has managed to do this without draconian lockdowns, except for the 2 months. Which of the following strengthens the author's argument that India has tackled the COVID-19 pandemic better than advanced nations? India's positivity rate of cases and admissions in Indian hospitals reduced, maybe. Counting is incorrect. Testing is inadequate. Classification is inaccurate. All these things are definitely not the answer. So only possible answer is A. Easy question, easy option. Which of the following weakens the author's argument that India has tackled the COVID-19 pandemic better than most nations? India lacks the coordination and effort to execute conspiracies. Many Indians are possibly not getting tested. Evidence point to the fact that India has flattened the corona curve. India has not imposed draconian lockdowns. Now again, weakens the argument of the author. So something that weakens, proves him wrong. So people not getting tested. So you're thinking your data, there are many more people, but they're not getting tested. So you cannot say India has done well. So B seems to be a better option there. Easy, not at all difficult, pretty clear cut and straightforward. Let's look at the next one. 133. Yeah. To think that deep Indian state is capable of fudging data at level of every district and every state and sustaining this facade for months is giving it too much credit. In this statement, the author indicates that author kind of says that you cannot give so much credit to India. It's not correct because this is not so easy to do, etc. So let's see. And you cannot influence the data or fudge data, that kind of statement. And deep Indian state, it's like state government. Apart from that, there are other networks that are there, that are unauthorized networks that are there, which might be able to fetch data. That is kind of thing that the point is there. So here, authorized networks is gone case. And C is trying to say they have influence. Sorry, D is trying to say they have influence. So that is a gone case. Between A and C, C is a better possible statement where it says that the unauthorized networks or other things which are working independently, they can't have that ability to fetch the data, etc. So C seems to be a better possible answer. According to the given passage, which of the following statements is not true? Now, this is a question that is a little tricky, and with regards to tricky options, developed nations are reluctant to learn from India's experience as Indian data is doubtful. India doesn't get much credit. India is seen as poor third world. India is seen as untrustworthy and incapable of tackling the pandemic. Now, if you look at it, B, C, D are clear-cut statements which are there in the passage. We are considered poor third world and untrustworthy, incapable of achieving something. So B, C, D are clear-cut lines from the passage. So they are true. Okay. Now coming to the A part of it, instead of learning from India's experience, the first instinct is to doubt Indian data, right? That is the line that we have. And we also said you can use, if they achieve it, it is celebrated, but in India's case, it is doubted kind of thing. So that is a point that we have. So going by that point and considering that point, taking A as not true is difficult, right? But yeah, A is the answer that we got. A is the only option that we are left with in this particular scenario here. And if we have to treat why A is treated as an answer by the key people, the only way we could think of is probably it's not directly given. It's the author is thinking of the statement, and it's not that developed countries are definitely saying that Indian data or is not credible or such kind of a statement. Only in a vague manner, I would say 134 is definitely, I would say, a difficult one to go with A as an answer. Okay. So yeah, that is a difficult one to go with as an answer with the given scenario here. This is definitely a confusing one, but A is the only one left out because B, C, D are clear-cut. Definitely we can't go with. According to the given passage, which of the following statements is true? COVID cases have reduced because of reduction in restrictions. COVID cases have increased with reductions. COVID cases have reduced with increased reduction. COVID cases have reduced despite reductions. So even though there are no lockdowns, the cases have decreased. So D is a better possible answer. This is an easy one. Okay, so I would say in this particular passage, 133 and 134 might seem to be difficult for students. 133, we've gone with that thing of a C. 134A is definitely a little confusing one to go with, but yeah, left with nothing else, and hence we have to mark it, because we might probably treat it as a statement which is not directly given in the passage, or something like that. So probably that's why they might have gone with it. So, okay, guys, so that's what it is. Overall, we think it's a pretty much okay paper, and not having anything much to contest or much to look at, because we know it's reasoning paper and they might come up with their own logics to come up with an answer possibility. Yes, 3 to 4 questions, as we said, maybe 106 and 134 are few questions which could have been a little better in terms of the way the questions were framed or the way the options were given. Okay, then guys, have a good day.